Hello, welcome to Full Record Jacket with me, Phil, and him, Ben.
Hi.
Now, we're doing another of our album face-offs in this show. We do this every now and again. It's quite simple. Take two albums that are comparable in some way, quite often by the same artist, and we make sure they have the same number of tracks, and we go down them, track 1, track 2, track 3, etc., and we have to decide which of those tracks wins. And at the end, we add up the scores. So
I hate this.
Oh, well, today
I hated it last time.
we are doing two albums by one of the most beloved bands of all time. It is Beatles For Sale versus Help.
Yeah, Help. Yeah.
Now,
Good. Glad you chose two easy ones.
so quick resume. Beatles For Sale came out at the end of 1964, accompanied by the single I Feel Fine with She's a Woman on the B-side, and which are not on the LP. And then in the summer of 1965, Help came out, which of course accompanied the film, and half of the songs on that album are from that particular film. Also includes the hit singles Help and Ticket to Ride. No hit singles on the Beatles For Sale LP. So we are going to start with track 1. And Ben, give us your thoughts on No Reply versus Help itself.
God, it's hard, isn't it? We had this before when we did the Oasis one. My own personal opinion is I'm going with Fat John Lennon and I'm going with Help because No Reply. I love No Reply. I know I say that a lot. I love that. But I do like No Reply. Obviously, I don't hate it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's one of the best. But I love Help because, you know, we all need a little bit of help every now and again. So for that reason, I'm going for Help.
This is a tough one because I could be very close to choosing No Reply on this because I've always thought it was one of the best album tracks that could have been a hit single from that period, and I like the sort of dark shading to it, the fact it was a little bit different from some of the songs they'd done before, and obviously it also, one thing that helps, if you'll pardon the pun, is the fact we haven't overheard No Reply in the way that we've perhaps in some ways overheard Help a little bit being played everywhere. So I tend to sort of lean towards No Reply, but then I can't argue that Help is also one of John Lennon's greatest songs of that period. So it's a tough one.
It was like Ron Seal, wasn't it? It did what it said on the tin. It was his cry for help because he felt overweight and etc., if I remember rightly.
If I was going for a personal choice, I think I'm still going to slightly go for No Reply. But I don't know. I almost feel as if I may have to call for a draw on this one.
It is hard. And when you give me your insightful knowledge to back up what I already know, it does twist it slightly for me. But just think about Help. It's got that iconic opening to it, hasn't it? Those opening sort of couple of chords. And the fact it just goes straight into Help, I need somebody.
Yeah. The mono
Which
version.
Is what I've needed all week. I've needed Help all week.
Yeah, the mono version of Help has a different vocal take by John Lennon to the one that was stereo. So
and this is why I bring you along, Phil, is for these little insights you say.
Yeah, so if you're used to hearing the stereo CD and you suddenly hear the mono version, it sounds different. But of course, the mono version is the one that was played in the 60s on the radio and everywhere. So anyway, that's just me digressing with a very nerdy fact. I'm declaring that a draw for now because we can't agree totally.
We can't agree. Yeah.
So we're going to track 2. Beatles For Sale has I'm a Loser. Help has The Night Before.
I like I'm a Loser. I'm going I'm a Loser. The Night Before.
See, I really like The Night Before because I think it rocks really well, and it's just got this. It's just the way it drives along, and it's got a great vocal by McCartney, and it rocks particularly in mono. I am a big fan of the Help album in mono.
Yeah. You have to excuse my croaky voice. Oh, it's hard. I'm going to go with my initial choice, I think, here. Well, I'm a Loser. Even though whenever I see that track, it always makes me think of Beck. But the night before. No, I'm going with I'm a Loser.
Okay, this is interesting because I almost feel like we've almost. This is so close.
Because I'm a Loser slightly different as well to stuff they've done before as well.
That's true.
That's it. So I quite like that diversion they've taken, whereas the night before is "Man, you will find my man," is a bit that sort of
It's a
happy
bit of,
clappy.
more of a McCartney rocker, maybe not quite so different. Yeah, okay. I think you've convinced me on this one. We're going to give this to Beatles for Sale on that one. So,
sip on my honey and lemon while you decide.
track 3 is either Babies in Black or You've Got to Hide Your Love Away.
Am I going first? I know which one it's going to be.
Do you want me to say something first?
Go on, and you go first, and then we'll see if we meet in the middle.
This is a bit of a tough one. And I know that I have seen Beatles fans who don't particularly like Babies in Black all that much. Although they used to play it on stage when it was first out.
I like the flow of Babies.
It's kind of is it in waltz time? It's in a time signature like that. I know that You've Got to Hide Your Love Away is very popular with a lot of people. I know it's a very well loved Beatles song, but I must admit it has never quite totally. I mean, it's good, and don't get me wrong, I can appreciate it, but it's never quite hit that spot for me that I personally really love it. And on that basis, if I had a choice of which those two songs I could listen to now, I think I'm going to go for Babies in Black personally.
Well, this is going to be because I'm going for You've Got to Hide Your Love Away because it was, I think it was a Lennon track written about
It's John Lennon. Yeah, and there's all these
rumours
that it was about Brian Epstein and all this sort of thing.
And I think on an Oasis bootleg CD I've got the Blue Album. I think Noel Gallagher's covered You've Got to Hide Your Love Away.
I believe I'm sure I've heard that done. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like You've Got to Hide Your Love Away with the hey, you've got to hide your. But I do like the flow of Babies in Black, like you say, that waltzy sort of.
But I can see that I could give way to you on this because it is a major Beatles song, and I think a lot of people would be very angry if we don't give that to You've Got to Hide Your Love Away.
Yeah, but I like the idea of you being picked on in the street.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. That could be appealing to you.
You know, it's hard. It's just.
Well, I'm giving it to You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, and I'm going, because I've just seen track 4, and they're both, the thing is, they're both very different. I do like both these tracks. So, rock and roll music, John Lennon's barnstorming vocal on that, against George Harrison's song, I Need You, which has the guitar going through the Leslie speaker cabinet, I believe, to get that funny sound effect on the guitar.
Yeah. Do you know what this is like, Phil? This is like having a choice between punch in the face and punch in the balls. You know one of them's going to hurt, but you've got to choose one.
Yeah, but it's a choice between two things that are great fun. So, you know, you're losing. Well, you're not really losing it. We don't need to take this too seriously because these albums will not be deleted from history. We can still enjoy them afterwards. We don't have to. We're not consigning these songs to oblivion. We're just having to pick a winner.
I love the vocal on rock and roll music.
I think that's going to, for me, that's going to do it for me, I think.
I think it's just the way that song goes. It's 2.5 minutes of...
It's one of John Lennon's best rock and roll versions.
Yeah, I would probably say, I don't know if you'd agree, would it be his best sort of rock and roll vocal since Twist and Shout?
Yeah, it could be. It's up there. It's one of his best rock and roll vocals on record, I think. Yeah, for sure. Whereas I Need You is good. To Terry Wogan used to play that on his radio show quite a lot. I Need You. He clearly, obviously liked that track. Random fact there.
Good old Wogers.
But yeah, for me, it's going to be rock and roll music. Much as I do like the George song, but I'm going for rock and roll music myself.
Well, there's no bad ones, are there, really? So
No. Sorry, I'm clattering my CD places all over the place. Right. Number 5. So, Paul McCartney's ballad, I'll Follow the Sun. One of the first songs he wrote, actually. He was quite young when he started that song. I'll Follow the Sun is up against another McCartney song from the movie Help, Another Girl.
I'll Follow the Sun.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with you on that because
it doesn't even need much in-depth thingy, really. It's a lovely vocal on.
I like a Macca ballad. I mean, I quite like Another Girl. It's quite good fun, but
I Follow the Sun's quite stripped back. It has that stripped back feel to it. So
okay, so
yeah, I like that. It's I think we don't need to go too much in depth because we'll talk ourselves out a bit.
So at the moment, Beatles for Sale is leading 3-1 with one draw as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. Okay, track 6. So 2 songs here with John Lennon's vocals. One's a cover, one's an original. Mr. Moonlight against You're Going to Lose That Girl.
You're gonna lose that girl.
Which is in the movie. That's the scene where someone's sawing the floor underneath.
Yeah. The look, I do love Mr. Moonlight. I know a lot of people you've said don't like Mr. Moonlight, but I really like Mr. Moonlight for what it is. Mr. Moonlight.
I do like it. I must admit, I am also a Mr. Moonlight defender, and I also like the ridiculously cheesy organ bit in the middle.
Well, if I hear Mr. Moonlight, it makes me want to put on a smoking jacket and go all Hugh Hefner. You know, have a glass of mince on Sir.
It could have been done by Mike Flowers Pops, couldn't it, really? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, it could have been the B-side to his Wonderwall cover. So,
but is it better than You're Gonna Lose That Girl?
Well, the fact that... This is...
I always thought that You're Gonna Lose That Girl could have been a hit. I always thought that's another one that could have been Well, it would have been. If they put that on a single... It would have been number 1 if they'd put that on a single.
To be fair, if the Beatles had released a dog turd on a single...
In 1965, that's true. That's true, but...
let's not get away from it. They
but I don't
think whatever they wanted.
But I don't. But it would have got to number 1. The dog turd would have got to number 1. But a lot of people would have said, "Can't believe that they've released a dog turd." But You're Going to Lose That Girl would have been number 1. I can't believe we're discussing this. It would have reached number 1, and nobody would have thought anything of it. People would have just said, "It's another great Beatles tune." So
just imagine.
I still contend.
Imagine on the Beatles anthology. The dog turd. Oh dear, it's all gone to pot, hasn't it? It started off so well. Well, we were in the studio and we just had this brilliant idea. We saw some dog feces on the pavement.
Right, which is winning?
You're going to lose that. You're going to lose that girl. Simple fact.
It's winning. It's won. You're going to lose that girl. Yeah. Right, number 7. I think you're going to have a definite opinion on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul McCartney doing a rock and roll cover on Beatles for Sale, a medley, Kansas City and Hey Hey Hey, a Little Richard medley, goes up against Ticket to Ride.
There's only one winner, Phil. Ticket to Ride is possibly one of the best Beatles songs of all time, and
I'll go with that.
You know he's going to be sad, and you know it's going to be today.
I do, and I must admit I don't like not being able to vote for Kansas City.
I love Canvas. Yeah, Canvas City.
Oh
God, I can't speak. Kansas City. Yeah.
Okay.
No, great cover that is. But Ticket to Ride is possibly one of my favourite Beatles songs of all time.
It is great. Yes, I think I'd probably. It's certainly It made my top 50 for sure.
That's good.
Could be could be well higher than that as well. It's
It definitely be in my top 5, possibly even my top 2.
It's certainly one of the best of that period.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
So we are on to track 8, which I don't know whether they did this deliberately because this wasn't the CD era, but track 8 is 8 days a week.
Ooh.
On Beatles for Sale. And that goes up against Ringo's spot, the only Ringo spot on Help, which is Act Naturally.
Naturally.
I think it's Buck Owens' country song.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very, very country, that song is, isn't it?
Now, my opinion on this is that I've always found 8 days a week to be not as good as some of the other Beatles hit songs.
It's a bit whimsical
of that period. I know it was a hit in America. It wasn't a hit in this country. It wasn't a single in this country. Notable for its fade-in intro, but I find it. I don't know. I don't dislike it. I don't turn it off, but I don't really love it that much.
It's a filler track, isn't it? It's not.
I kind of feel it is. I know for many people it's a hit and a great Beatles song, but for me it just doesn't quite do it. But Act Naturally, yeah, it's the Ringo one. Do you know what? If I had the choice to listen to one of these two, I might just enjoy the Ringo one.
I think I would as well, because you've almost got a nod and a wink when Ringo's singing, haven't you? It's almost like they're going.
Maybe the most controversial choice we've made so far then, but 8 days a week is out. We've given it to Act Naturally. So, number 9.
Ooh.
Words of Love, the Buddy Holly remake, against It's Only Love.
I don't really have any real opinions on either. If I'm honest, they're both very meh.
Yeah, you see, I do feel that the Help album, in my view, is a little bit weaker on side 2. And
yeah, definitely.
I think that It's Only Love. It's certainly not as strong as the Hard Day's Night album was on side 2, where the non-movie songs were on the second side, but it was, in my view, it's great all the way through. But I personally don't rate It's Only Love as being a particularly great John Lennon song.
No.
And I do like their version of Words of Love, mainly for the harmonies. And I would personally rather listen to Words of Love. That's just my view.
Well, I will probably go with you on that one, Phil, to be fair. Like I said, I have no real meaningful input with either of those tracks, really. But like I said, they're both sort of just ear clouds. They're just there.
Okay.
Filling a space.
Well, this is another one. This is an interesting one now because we've got George versus Ringo. So Ringo on Beatles for Sale doing the Carl Perkins rockabilly number, Honey Don't. And that goes up against George with You Like Me Too Much.
Like you say, the second side of Help. I think I'm going with the Carl Perkins.
Yeah,
it's another track there that just says to me, "Oh, we've just got some tracks we need to put on an album. These will do." Not saying they're bad. They're probably better than they are better than what I could do, but they don't mean anything. They don't capture the.
You see,
Beatles.
Yeah, Beatles for Sale, of course, was a rushed, finished album because they were due to release it before Christmas, and they had to finish it, and that's why the rock and roll songs are on this album. But on Help, the You Like Me Too Much actually it's quite jaunty. It's quite good as a George Harrison song of that period. It's not quite as good as, for example, If I Needed Someone that came later in the year. In my view, but I probably I mean, I do. The thing is, I do like 1950s rock and roll and rockabilly and all that stuff. I do like all those influences that the Beatles had, and I do listen to all the old stuff. So I'm quite
and
happy.
I do like a Ringo song as well.
Yeah, I do like a Ringo song. Oh, flipping out. Okay, we're going to give this then to Ringo on that one. So Honey Don't wins out over You Like Me Too Much. We're on to track 11. So Every Little Thing against Tell Me What You See. I've got a definite winner of those two.
Tell Me What You See is trying to pick it out from the back of my mind.
Every Little Thing is one of those songs which apparently neither John Lennon nor Paul McCartney made a claim for the primary authorship of that song. Although John Lennon sings it,
so that tells me they think it's...
You think it would have been mainly written by him. But I actually think Every Little Thing is a bit of an underrated hidden gem in the catalogue. I personally think it's a lot better than 8 Days a Week, and I think it's a really good one. In fact, I think I actually put this on in my top 50.
Top 50.
I think I did. I think this is one. It may have been. It certainly came close to getting on there if it didn't. And I personally prefer that to Tell Me What You See. So I would give it to Every Little Thing, but I'm not going to try and sway you in any way.
No. I it's hard because sort of... Yeah, no, I've made the choice. I'm going to go with you, Phil. I trust your judgment. I'm going to go with you.
Okay, thanks. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party is track 12 on Beatles For Sale. That goes up against a Paul McCartney number, I've Just Seen a Face.
Well, I don't mind I've Just Seen a Face.
It is quite a groovy song. It's
yeah.
It's all got all those sort of tumbling rhymes, and it's sort of
yes, it has. Yeah,
it's a great Paul McCartney, almost solo acoustic song. I think there is.
Yes,
there is sort of
like. Yeah, I like that. It's another one of those tracks which isn't sort of. Well, none of these tracks back then were massively overproduced or anything like that. So I quite like these sort of little ditty songs, as I call them.
Yeah,
sort of simplistic, no sort of.
I Don't Want to Spoil the Party.
Whistles.
Yeah, that Spoil the Party is a kind of sort of countryish style when you hear it, which I quite like and has grown on me a bit over the years.
Like a wart.
But I think I've Just Seen a Face is a worthy one. Are we going to give it to I've Just Seen a Face?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a worthy winner.
It's going in there.
I think it's... in terms of the songwriting, I think it's probably is a better song. Okay, number 13. Now this is going to be a kind of a tough one as well, because which of these McCartney moments do you prefer? What You're Doing.
Ooh.
What You're Doing goes up against Yesterday.
See, I like Yesterday, but it's one of those ones that's been massively overplayed. It's one of them. Whenever I think of Yesterday, I think, oh God, I can't be bothered. Scrambled eggs and all that.
I know what you mean, because
But when you hear it, you're like, it is a great song.
Now, it is a great song. It is a great achievement in songwriting, of course.
And I suppose you shouldn't detract from how great a song is just because it's been overplayed, but...
That's true. So it depends on what criteria we're doing this, because if we're doing this on the criteria of which one do we most want to listen to personally, then you can dispense with the greater song and choose the lesser one if you like it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be objective and say which are the greatest songs, then Yesterday probably has to win that. But I really like What You're Doing. I like the drum sound. I think they were experimenting a bit with the drums, and I just really like it. I've always really liked it. In fact, I think that was one of the tracks I picked off this album for my personal favourite 50.
I would probably put it in over Yesterday, just for the simple fact of it hasn't had that overplayedness, and it's a good song. There's, but Yesterday, it's just one of them. I can take it or leave it these days. I can sort of, if it's on, I'll listen to it. But if I was asked which of these Beatles, I probably wouldn't pick Yesterday.
I know what you mean. I have a similar feeling. Okay, so we're on to the closing track. Both these albums finish with a cover song, both of which
Just
have
had
been
covers.
criticised by a lot of commentators and people as being weaker rock and roll covers. But on Beatles for Sale, it's George Harrison with Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, originally by Carl Perkins. And John Lennon closes out the Help album with Dizzy Miss Lizzy, originally by Larry Williams. So, is it Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, or is it Dizzy Miss Lizzy?
I prefer the vocal on Dizzy Miss. Oh God, Dizzy Miss Lizzy. Oh, you say it. That song. I prefer the vocal on it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very good Lennon vocal. The only thing about Dizzy Miss Lizzy that slightly annoys me is the guitar part that keeps repeating over and over. Do you know the one I mean?
Yeah.
And it keeps on repeating over a little bit too much. And I must admit, I'm not very familiar with the original Larry Williams one, so I don't know whether that's a copy of the original or whether they just did that and couldn't be bothered to think of another way to do it. I don't know. But Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby by George. Yeah, I don't mind it. I lean slightly towards the George Harrison one on the basis of just a bit of fun, but I agree that Lennon's vocal is very good on Dizzy Miss Lizzy.
I would put Lennon for the vocal.
I think we can give it to John for that one. Because, to be honest with you, the Help album's trailing behind in the scores, so it probably needs a bit of a...
Which I'm really quite... Well, actually, I'm not surprised after realising that second side, but...
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Beatles for Sale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Help album, and 1 draw. So, whichever way that had gone, that debate over the opening track wouldn't have affected the result. It's still a victory for Beatles for Sale. Actually, to be fair, if we'd given that to one of the others, oh no, hang on, because it would have been 8. If we'd given it to Beatles for Sale, it would have been 8-5, and if we'd given it to Help, it would have been 7-6. So yeah.
I mean, Beatles Help has got some brilliant tracks, like Ticket to Ride and Help. You know, I'm quite surprised by that one. I thought Help would have come out on top. But...
The track sequence plays a bit of a role, and if we had arranged these in track order and said which was our favourites at the top and bottom, maybe it would have come out differently. But that, folks, is the way the cookie has crumbled. Beatles for Sale has won out over Help.
Burn Help? Or...
Yeah, we can sign it to history. All copies must now be destroyed. And no one's allowed to listen to it again on vinyl, CD, or even
anywhere,
or even on cassette. Yeah, that's that.
Or 8-track.
So that's that. Do you agree with us? I suspect maybe you don't. You've probably got a few gripes about those opinions and those choices. So let us have it in the comments. We would love to be given a good slagging off in the comments, particularly if you also share this video because you're so outraged by it. You send it to all your friends as well. We'd love that. And if you feel like forgiving us, we'd also appreciate a subscribe as well. Thanks for watching.